Hey guys, welcome back to the B.Y.O show. You're with Jordan
and Ryan.
And today we've got a little bit to talk about. There's been a bit of news dropped over the past couple of days, but let's just jump right into it.
Let's do it. Rightio, Geordie, as always, I've compiled a list here on the computer of things that I thought may interest you over the last week or so I've put together.
Yep.
And I'll just run through that and see if anything specifically jumps out at you.
Sounds good.
So we've got Universal apparently considering some more Fast and Furious franchise spin-offs for some reason. Hobbs and Shaw looks terrible to me, but whatever. Wachowski siblings potentially back for Matrix 4.
Mm-hmm.
We got it's not really confirmed, it's more of a rumour at this stage, but apparently Michael Rooker may join the cast of the Suicide Squad, James Gunn's The Suicide Squad.
Yep.
And then I thought we could, because now that we've both seen Detective Pikachu,
Yep.
that we could have a chat about that. And then I think you've got some gaming news, and then obviously we were going to have a quick chat about State of Play, the PlayStation presentation from the other day. So
Yeah.
from that list, so nothing huge, nothing major. And there was the first look at It Chapter 2 as well. But a lot of stuff to talk about. We don't want to do like 45-minute episodes and stuff like that. So anything in there in particular that sort of jumps out that you want to have a chat about?
Yeah, well, I've been a big fan of The Matrix for forever.
Yep.
Obviously the first one more so than
I think
the other two.
it's like that for most people.
But it's exciting to see that we could potentially be getting either a fourth or reboot. Who knows at this stage?
This is the thing. So I forget what his last name is, but it's Chad something. So there's the guy who's directing Keanu has directed Keanu in the 3 John Wick films.
Mm-hmm.
He's been talking openly. I don't really know where it actually came from, but he basically sort of floated the idea that potentially the Wachowski siblings are working or may be involved in the long-planned like revisiting of the Matrix franchise.
Yeah.
And then he sort of hinted that maybe the Wachowski siblings weren't the only ones that would return. Like obviously he's talking about maybe Keanu coming back as Neo.
Yeah.
And the internet has collectively lost its shit over the last 2 days, basically.
Yeah.
He has he hasn't, but I think the Wachowskis' publicist or something has come out and clarified and said that he was just answering questions in regards to what ifs sort of situations, not necessarily confirming anything. But then there was lots of industry types and screenwriters and stuff like that were all talking about it quite in depth online and about why it was probably the right thing to maybe revisit it rather than a reboot or something like that. So but I know you're a big fan, as you said, mostly of the first one. I think I'm in a minority of people who I maybe don't really want to revisit this franchise. I really like the first one and can understand what they were trying to do with the second and third.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's a fun trilogy.
Yeah.
No matter what, there's good elements from all of them.
Yeah.
It just depends on what they do. If it is a sequel to them, I don't really know what they can do.
Yeah.
I would hope that they bring in a new lead. As much as I love Keanu, a new lead would be cool to see. A new path of another The One.
Yeah, well, they
what they discussed.
They kind of discussed. Was that it was even the ending of that trilogy. My understanding anyway was that it was eventually it was going to reboot itself, and that journey would start again.
Yeah.
And there was a new Neo that would rise to prominence and whatever. So and then there would be new wars and whatever for the Matrix. So, but but you'd watch it. It's something that you'd maybe be interested in revisiting.
Yeah, definitely. I love that world.
Yeah.
It's so interesting. It's you can do anything in it. There's really no limits at all.
Did you ever see the Animatrix, the anime-based stuff? Really cool. If anyone here hasn't seen that, you should track that down. The Animatrix was really, really sick.
Yeah.
All right. So that's your number one. I think for me, probably out of that list, the biggest thing that sort of caught my attention anyway, as someone who's more comic book movie focused, is the potential for Michael Rooker, who most people would know, or most people in our audience would know as Yondu from Guardians of the Galaxy films, potentially joining James Gunn's The Suicide Squad reboot, sequel, reimagining. I don't know. They don't even know what it is, I don't think. Potentially as King Shark, which is super out of the blue. Not really, like, not obviously not an A-list character, but definitely more well known than some of the other villains that it looks as though, like Ratcatcher and Polka Dot Man and stuff like that. Like, King Shark is far more recognisable than that.
Especially after being on the Flash TV show recently as well.
Yeah, well, they've played with him on and off, like, across all 5 seasons. Like, he's sort of come in and he's been a bad guy, and then they've used him in good ways, and they've done things to humanise that character and stuff like that. Like, it's really interesting. So I'm wondering, like, what the angle is, like whether he just rocks up and it's like, it's obviously going to be some sort of performance captured.
I think essentially they're probably just bringing in King Shark as like a Killer Croc replacement, probably, you know, having the Freak in the team.
Well, because so the cast, I think at this stage, so it's Margot Robbie, Idris Elba, who for some reason everyone today was reporting that he was playing Deathstroke. That's not true. Joe Manganiello is still contracted to play that character for years. And there was a total shit show when everyone thought that they were going to cast him as Deadshot. So, like, they're not going to turn around and cast him as another rebooting of a character. Joel Kinnaman, potentially not confirmed to be back as Rick Flag, but he seems to think that he is. David DeSmallchin as Polka Dot Man. John Cena, apparently, which depending on what sites you're reading and getting information from, is either added as well as Dave Bautista or instead of Dave Bautista.
Who they were looking at as Bane, potentially, is that
potentially,
right?
So. Or like a couple of different people, but it was like, I think Peacemaker and also Bane, but like just so strange. And then Viola Davis back, Jai Courtney back. They've got Daniela Melchior, I think it is her name, as Ratcatcher. And then there's also all sorts of rumours about Benicio del Toro playing the Mayor, like which is a comic book character, not the Mayor, playing the Mayor, which would be the central villain for the Suicide Squad sequel, prequel, spin-off, reimagining, adaptation, whatever it is. So, like, it's pretty much just like the Guardians of the Galaxy cast, like, without the really big names. He's kind of just gone Control C, Control V, like, work out a new budget, write a new story, and then, like, away we go. But, like, I'm super interested in this. Rooker is a really good actor. Really good actor. Like I'm personally am not a massive fan of The Walking Dead, but he was on that and he was huge. My friend Zach is, like, super into Walking Dead. And as so many people are, hundreds of millions of people. And everyone talked about how great his performance was in that. He was a beloved character, and I think he maybe even started out as like a baddish guy in that, sort of came good. Which is similar to the Guardians of the Galaxy arc, where he was like kind of a bad guy asshole, but kind of swayed good toward the end, and that's like one of the best gut punch scenes in the MCU for me. Definitely. But, like, is this something that would interest you? Like, are you like a big Michael Rooker fan?
I think it's interesting that they're bringing in King Shark.
That's more so what I thought you were going to get out of it. Yeah,
definitely. The reboot, whatever it happens to be. It's interesting. It's, you know, DC's going in a pretty good direction at the moment. After Aquaman and Shazam. Obviously Wonder Woman. A couple of years back now. But Wonder Woman 84 looks, well, from what we've seen,
like the promos.
Fantastic.
And there's leaked footage. There was leaked footage as well from ages ago, from like CinemaCon or something years ago, last year. We've still never seen Cheetah. Like, we still haven't seen any footage of Cheetah, but it looked like it was colorized differently. Like, it wasn't like sort of half sepia toned kind of thing. Like, anyway, no, that's cool. And I totally agree. I think DC's really, like, they're doing the right thing now. Like, they're not coming out and announcing like a billion films at once. It seems like they've really pulled back on announcements and all that sort of nonsense.
Definitely.
And pretty much just focusing on like what's dead ahead of them. Jason, I was going to say Aquaman because he embodies that character now. But Jason Momoa, in interviews, has been saying like that they've pretty much locked down the script for Aquaman 2. So like even though that's years away, like the main core group of people sort of understands what that movie's going to be about. So like it's going to happen. James Wan's been developing a darker, low budget spin-off based around the trench from Aquaman sequence, which is cool. Interesting to like build out that part of the DC universe, and stuff like that. So like it's interesting when they bring in characters like this because like King Shark has multiple different backstories, any which there's some of them are like body horror and some of them aren't. Some of them are metahuman based and stuff like that. So it's just super interesting. I'm super keen to see what what Rooker brings to it, but B, what James Gunn does with a character like that. And stuff. So, all right. Well, I guess we're on board. Something that I am so not on board with that I almost didn't even put it in the list here today is this more Fast and Furious spin-offs. Yeah. So Charlize Theron was in, I think it was the one that came out in 2017, which was Fate of the Furious. Yeah. Which is Fate Fast 8. Is that what it was? Yeah. I don't know. There's too many of those movies. And she played. I actually saw this one, but I saw it on a plane. She played a character called Cypher, which was like a sort of like a computer terrorist sort of thing, and she was working with Letty, which is Michelle Rodriguez's character, and she was manipulating things behind the scenes. But anyway, long story short, Universal is apparently looking at more spin-offs, I think, because there's a lot of trouble behind the scenes with like maybe doing more Fast and Furious movies, and Vin Diesel, like apparently his ego like causes a lot of trouble behind the scenes, and it did with Dwayne Johnson and whatever. And so the Rock was basically just like, that's fine, like you keep your version of the franchise and we'll go and make our own, and like I'll bring Jason Statham and we'll go and make this weird looking cartoon thing, whatever Hobbs and Shaw is. But you got to call it like it is. That movie's going to come out, it's going to make a shit ton of money. It's not for me, but they've got a huge fan base. And like it's probably something like if I was in the right moods, like if I was in the right like mindset, that I could probably sit down and enjoy that movie. But it's just something that's not for me. But is this something that, like, Charlize Theron's a really great actress. The character was a bit thin from what I remember. But like, is this something that sort of interests you at all?
I haven't even seen the one that she's in, so I couldn't say. I mean, she's a great actress. She can hold her own as a lead character. She's super charismatic, so it could be good.
And she's really leaned into like the physicality of some of these big action roles that she's had over the last few years too. Like she did Atomic Blonde a couple of years ago, which was sort of like a female version of John Wick, kind of. But she's grounded as a really great actress as well. Like can do drama and stuff. Like she was in a movie a couple of years ago called Tully that was really well received and stuff. Like just the hardcore drama.
She's in Long Shot at the moment with Seth Rogen, which I just watched recently, and that's she was really good.
So I haven't had a chance to see that, but you loved it.
It's really good. I wasn't expecting it. I mean, I didn't go in with high expectations, but it's a fun movie. It's good, and she's really good in it.
Like her comedy chops were like up to standard.
Yeah, definitely. They bounced off each other really well. I mean, I don't know if that's just because it was Seth Rogen as well, and I'm a big fan of him, but no, she was really good. She played a really serious character well with that sort of comedy side to it, and I think that's probably what they would go with for something like this.
Well, I feel like that's kind of what the Fast and Furious movies have kind of like evolved into. It's kind of like almost like a Marvel movie. Like there's a certain level of action that's expected, there's a certain level of drama that's expected, there's almost like a, not patriotism, that's the wrong word, but there's like a self-important sort of like stance, and like this is who I am and what I stand for, kind of thing. But also there's a lot of like that easy humor, like that people call it cheap humor, because like in screenwriting it's just like, well, you just put in like a dick joke or something that's like feels cheap, but they make it work, and they do cast super charismatic actors, or at least they have since whichever one it was that The Rock came into, because that's when I sort of like became interested in that franchise again. Okay, well, interesting. well, that was pretty much all the news from a movie standpoint, anyway. Like the It Chapter 2 trailer was kind of more just like a scene that showed Jessica Chastain's character, like grown-up character from the first movie. So that's sort of not really that much to talk about.
No, not really. If you haven't seen it and you enjoyed it,
horror movies,
or horror movies in general,
go and check it out.
It's pretty good. It doesn't reveal much, but we'll get, especially any sort of horror fan, get them pumped for it.
Yeah. So. Now, changing lanes completely, moving from the biggest highest grossing horror movie of all time, It. Switching lanes to Detective Pikachu. We've both now seen that movie, and preface this again with no spoilers. We're not going to spoil anything or anything like that, just like a general sort of overview of how you felt about it. We're both being lifelong Pokemon fans. Something that I grew up with, you grew up with, like it was sort of unavoidable in the pop culture sphere of existence.
I mean, anyone from our generation, even to now, like my youngest siblings and cousins are fans of it, so it's one of those things which is just, it's like Disney. Yeah,
just exists and everyone knows about it. So what were your general sort of thoughts after? So we went and saw it last night. Fairly packed cinema, actually, surprisingly.
Yeah, it was
considering
busy.
that Endgame is still out there, and we've had a couple of like new releases in Australia that have all sort of come out in the last like few days. General thoughts? Love it, hate it?
I really enjoy. I mean, I didn't go in with high expectations. The last video game movie that's been made in the past 10 years hasn't been very good. Yeah. But it's fun. It's a fun movie. I'm really glad, and we've talked about this. I'm glad that they didn't go directly into like the cartoon or the original games. They went off like a spin-off series with Detective Pikachu.
Yeah, that was a bit less known. Like it is obviously it's based on video game, but it's there's less. I feel like they got away with more because they didn't lean into like the hardcore recognised canon of what Pokemon is about. Yeah,
but they based it in a singular city essentially. Yeah. But they mention the other regions. They mention
backstory.
A lot of backstory, which sort of sets it in the same universe as the show that we watched growing up and the games, and it was so fun. Yeah. I mean, and it looked fantastic. Like the
visual
Pokemon
effects
looked brilliant.
Yeah, I've got to say that actually as someone who's like I very carefully break down like how well visual effects have been put together and stuff like that, like in movies, and like I'm a bit of an asshole about it, like you've called me out on it before, but like I've got to say, like the way that they sort of blended obviously physical interactions on set with the visual effects and the compositing and stuff like that, especially with Pikachu himself, Detective Pikachu, and the lead actor, it was unreal. Yeah, like it's something that like I feel is almost kind of like a game changer.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, because everything is interacted with. Like there's an elongated sequence it's not a spoiler because they've showed it in a lot of the trailers, but there's a sequence of the sort of like a collection of APOM purple monkey things chasing a character, and a lot of the like knocking over buckets and things getting like bumped and moved and doors opening and stuff like that was all practical effects. Yeah. And so to then implement several visual effect, like fully visual effect characters into that scene, that entire sequence, and have it play out and look as realistic as it did was no small feat.
No, not at all.
And I feel like that's maybe something that's going to be overlooked because within seconds of that movie starting, I totally forgot that I was looking at CGI characters.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Whenever there was Pokemon on screen.
I mean, I think we spoke about this as well, was that I thought, okay, they're going to have specific Pokemon that you're going to see, and then we'll see like birds in the background. They'll just be like, that's just a bird, or that's just a fish. But every single animal that we see in this movie, it's a Pokemon. Yeah. And it makes you so engrossed in the world, you forget that they're not real. Yeah. I can see some people are probably going to be like, oh, that didn't look very good, or that doesn't look exactly like the cartoon. Yeah. But they look pretty good. Like it's so engrossing, and you can't help but sit there and just smile and be like, man, I wish I was a kid again.
It was just good time. It was generally just. There's no other way to sort of like to say about it. What it, like to give sort of a rating on it almost doesn't do it justice. It was just a good, wholesome, fun, family-friendly time at the movies.
Yeah,
and that was it.
Definitely.
Like it was hardcore nostalgia for me. I'm sure there was kids in there that were. It wasn't obviously not nostalgic for them, but like they were as encompassed in it as us and our entire group that was there was.
Yeah.
So like, but if you did have to give it a rating, literally just like a thumbs up or a thumb down, obviously you're going to give it thumbs up from you.
Thumbs up, yeah. And if you ever enjoyed Pokemon in your life as a kid or growing up at all, go see it. It's good. I want to see them make a bit of money off it, just because I want to see them develop this world more and have a bunch of different stories in the coming years. I'd like to see a PCU. Would be great.
But Pokemon cinematic universe. It's possible. Like it's one of the biggest brands in the world. Like it's Pokemon as a brand is almost as big as a Batman or a Superman or a Marvel. Like I think there's an opportunity there, and they treated it with respect. They went in with the right idea. It was all based. It was they made that movie from the heart, and you can tell Ryan Reynolds was like 100% leaned into it. And I think that really helped, because if they had cast the wrong person to voice Pikachu, then that would have caused issues. It would have been a less believable journey. Yeah. But I think he was pitch perfect. Sometimes there was like little shades of Deadpool in there, just with some of like the how witty he was.
Yeah.
But it seems like it's more just Ryan Reynolds' like easy charm sort of coming through. Like it's his easy wit.
Ryan Reynolds in general. That's just him, and it was just a bit of himself in there.
Yeah, but massive thumbs up from me.
Yeah.
But talking about Pokemon, actually, we can use this as a gateway into what you wanted to talk about, because I actually didn't know about this, but apparently there's a new. It's not Pokemon Go related, but apparently there's a new Pokemon mobile game coming.
So I don't know when it was announced. It was either this morning or late last night. Nintendo came out and mentioned that they're wanting to do a new mobile game. The same people designing it are the people that did Mario Run, which came out a year or two ago, maybe longer, I'm not sure.
Which is a big deal to use Nintendo licensed characters on stuff that isn't a Nintendo console.
Yeah, exactly. So they've got to give the approval in general. So they've done Super Mario Run, Animal Crossing Pocket Camp, the Fire Emblem game, and currently working on Mario Tour, which is a phone Mario Kart. Mario Kart Tour. And now this Pokemon game, no details given at all, but I don't think it's going to be anything like Pokemon Go. If anything, from what I've heard, it's more likely going to go back to the roots of general Pokemon games. But then again, it could turn around.
As in like turn-based?
Possibly, just battling, but
it
could potentially be a match 3. Like Pikachu head, Pikachu head.
Yeah.
Who knows? But
what's the company's name?
DNA, I think. They've done a lot of mobile games over the years, and
I can't understate how big of a deal it is for companies to be allowed to use and develop projects based on existing Nintendo IPs.
Oh yeah, they don't let anyone. Especially these days.
And even like on YouTube, like if you talk shit about something that's Nintendo related, or you're trying to do like Nintendo Let's Plays or whatever, like they come down on people like a ton of bricks. So you can imagine like how much paperwork's involved. So like I hadn't heard about it. I'm a massive Pokemon Go player. I really enjoy that. You literally talked me into buying a Switch, and you ended up with Let's Go Pikachu, and I ended up with Let's Go Eevee. And I think I had finished it weeks and weeks and weeks before you did. And was on to like trying to collect like shinies and all sorts of nonsense and stuff while you were doing it. But it's I'm always interested in new Pokemon as a card collector from way back, as a fan of the cartoon. It was one of the very first movies that I ever saw in cinema. So I'm super keen for that. So I'm interested to see that's something that
exactly.
We just thought you guys might have been interested in. Geordie brought it to me this afternoon. I was like, damn, I hadn't even heard of that. That's crazy.
I think they're saying within this fiscal year, so any time up until like February next year or something for America. So
while we're on gaming, I wanted to talk about, so PlayStation's been doing, so they've announced they're not going to have any presence at E3 this year, which is coming up fast. And we are doing an E3 special, so subscribe and click the fucking bell or whatever it is so that you know when we're doing that. But they've been doing these state of play, like special event live stream things with people, where it's basically like they're so big and they're so successful now because of how well the PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 4 have done back to back, and how well all their third party and first party exclusives and stuff are doing. Like even like Days Gone came out, I platinumed that today. Absolute fucking masterpiece in my opinion. You had even messaged me and said that you hadn't seen me in love with a game like this for a long time.
Yeah.
Like I don't get that much spare time, so like to sit down and spend nearly 70 hours in a game over the last couple of weeks was insane. A big deal for me. Like there was lots and lots of late night, early mornings there. But yeah, they've sort of been able now to host their own events and people show up. You know, massive brand, one of the biggest companies in the world now. But State of Play PlayStation, they announced a bevy of new stuff, but most importantly, to me anyway, we got a first look at the Medieval remaster, or it's actually a remake. It's like what they did with Ratchet and Clank and Spyro and everything. We finally got some more information on Final Fantasy VII, and we basically just got announced a new Predator game, an asymmetrical hunting multiplayer game, kind of like Evolve.
Well, I didn't really show or say what it is going to entail at all, but if anything, I think
it's from the makers of it's from the guys who made the Friday the 13th game.
Yeah.
So, and they announced it as asymmetrical multiplayer. So, essentially, what it means is you'll have a jungle setting. You'll load into a lobby of, depending on how many players come into the lobby, of like 4 or 6 or 10, whatever it is, depending on how big the thing is. The lobby is. One person randomly becomes allocated as the predator, and everyone else is just like, all right, go, you're out in the jungle, survive, escape, get to the chopper, get to the chopper.
I mean, obviously there's been a few games like this with Evolve and Friday the 13th.
Which was a cool idea. We played a lot of Evolve, but there just wasn't any support for it.
And the
microtransactions,
man. Oh,
which
God,
is the devil.
damn.
Game devs, if any game devs or publishers or anything ever come across these videos like years down the track, stop fucking putting microtransactions in games. You're just shooting yourself in the foot. But no, I thought that was super interesting because like we haven't really had anything based around the Predator IP for ages.
Not for ages. I mean, I think there was an Alien vs Predator game on PS3.
No, there was it was in one of the Ghost Recons. There was like a special event. I think it was Ghost Recon Wildlands, which they actually just announced a sequel to.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But they did like a Predator special event thing that was like, I don't know whether you could play as the Predator, but you had to hunt the Predator or something like that.
That's pretty cool.
But I'm out of everything, I'm far more interested in talking about Medieval because that's a game that I like grew up with. Had it on PlayStation 1. Wasn't my PlayStation, was my elder brother Aaron's PlayStation that he let me play every now and then. The disc magically disappeared one day, so I don't know whether we were playing it too much or whether Mum decided that it was time for that game to stop being played. But I was a massive fan of that. Really quirky humour. Always sort of, for some reason, reminded me of like the Earthworm Jim games on like Nintendo and stuff. But no, I just thought like we could bring it up because just in preparation, like we're going to do an E3 special, so I thought we might as well just touch on gaming a tiny little bit, just so that the guys, like whoever's watching, all 40 of you understand, 40 to 60, however, all 40 to 60 of you, that we're going to talk about some gaming and stuff as well. So, but I think that's pretty much it for this episode. There hasn't been anything that's like sort of shaken the world. I think by the time that we do the next episode, Avatar may be sitting at number 2 all-time gross at that point. Maybe. And that's we might talk about that and why it's important to, while it's okay to celebrate the success of Avengers Endgame and stuff like that, don't discount what people are doing with new IPs and stuff like that, regardless of whether you think that it's fucking Fern Gully in space or whatever. You got to support new ideas and new IPs, because otherwise we're just going to end up with Disney just owning and making the same thing over and over and over again. So that's everything from me. Like, subscribe, follow us on Instagram and Twitter and all that sort of stuff. Have you got any final thoughts at all, Geordie?
Not at this stage.
No, that's fair enough. So we've
anything you want us to talk about next time, hit us up, send us a message in social medias or here on YouTube.
You know where we are.
Exactly.
You're already here. Comment in the bottom thing, in the comments.
Thumbs up.
Thumbs up, subscribe, notification, Taco Bell thing, all that sort of stuff. Alright guys, we're so tired. It's like late on Saturday night. We're going to go and get some sleep. Peace.
See you guys.